Welcome to the Media Leader Podcast. I'm Jack Benjamin. I hope all of you out there have had a very happy holidays and a fun New Year's, and that you are staying warm amidst the long, cold gloom that always accompanies each January. Ahead of the holidays, we hosted our annual Future of TV Advertising Global event in London, one of the world's largest conferences dedicated to the TV ad industry. We've got loads of coverage from the event on our website, and links to those articles will be in the show notes. But one session that I thought was especially worth sharing here is a conversation with three key brand marketers about how they view the TV market from a buyer's perspective. Richard Brooke is the Global Media Trading and Operations Director at Unilever. Sorin Patilinet is the Global Marketing Effectiveness Lead at PepsiCo, and Alison Keith was until recently the Head of Global Marketing Effectiveness at Kraft Heinz, and before that the VP of Global Media at Coty. The trio sat down with the event producer and media leader contributor Justin Lebbon to discuss what brands want from the TV industry, where TV is now situated in their marketing strategies compared to other video platforms, and they argued over whether YouTube is TV, a big question that we've asked all throughout last year. Brooke also talked about why Unilever decided to move to a social-first marketing strategy last year, a bold move that could well have heralded in a new era of confidence for the creator economy. This is their conversation. I hope you enjoy.
Ali, you've just left Kraft Heinz, which is great because I love a client who's just left because they can spill the beans on all the naughty things that they've been up to. And that's exactly what you're doing here. So we've talked all morning about these massive global deals going on. Huge consolidation, huge concentration of spend as well that's coming from like global platforms of the TV world. Do you guys as clients take notice of that? Are you excited by the sort of global TV landscape that we're seeing? What's your view on it?
I think it's interesting, Sorin said earlier, it's a little bit like watching day trading at the minute, because every time you wake up in the morning, somebody's trying to buy somebody else. It's kind of exciting from the outside. So yes, it's definitely something that you keep an eye on, because we have to be very aware, as with every marketing team, of where your scale is and the partners that you're going to be partnering with and how that's going to impact on you moving forward. So definitely something that we always
Does it
watch.
excite you about it, or does it make it look like the industry's in flux, or you're looking at it and going, no, it's a real dynamic global market now? Do you have that opinion about it at all?
I don't think being in flux is a bad thing. I think it's quite interesting. I enjoy seeing how these things come together, and the teams, and especially the properties that the broadcasters have. How's that going to combine? How are you going to see what Netflix and or Paramount, depending on who wins, I guess, does with some of the properties that they'll be buying into, and what does that mean for advertising moving forward? How is it going to reinvent advertising in space?
Who do you want to see win?
I couldn't possibly comment.
No one can. Sorin?
The consumer.
The consumer.
Yeah, I would be also looking.
So which is the best deal for the consumer?
I would not be able to comment on that. I don't know but I think it's changing how consumers behave in front of their screens, and I think that's what's more interesting than who wins the battle for me.
Okay. You got your book in your hand?
It's actually for you, it's a gift, because you're the only one on this stage who hasn't bought it yet.
Yeah,
Both of my friends have bought it. They also wear orange somehow.
Yeah, we did actually try to coordinate that, and I completely missed that one. Everyone here in the room knows I don't really read, so this is great, but I will give this a go. And I'm actually going to talk about effectiveness with you, because how do you view telly, right? Because I have read some of your stuff, obviously, and I know that you're a big fan of Byron Sharp and the effectiveness stuff. So surely, like, when you look at what you work with Pepsi and other brands, you must be a great advocate for telly. Like, how do you view it? Do you view it as the narrative of TV? Pick your answer carefully, because this is obviously a very biased audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, but there's nothing to hide here. I'm a fan of reach. I'm a fan of effectiveness and results. And if those effectiveness are measured by sales or equity, probably TV wins in most of those instances. So I think what I've discovered at PepsiCo when I joined 6 months ago is that there is a belief in the ability of this medium to build brands for the long term.
Yeah.
Because all of our brands that were built in this long history were built through reach-based media, and the belief is still there. However, the actions are not always in line with those beliefs.
Why is that? So I was going to ask you, if the beliefs are there, does that mean you're spending more on telly?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
But the narrative inside is not probably the same. I mean, there's a lot of counter currents that impact this channel. creators, retail media, generative AI workflows, all those are actually skewing the conversations to places where TV has nothing to play.
Yeah. Is that particularly frustrating? Because when you look at the sort of core effectiveness stuff, and we have the great ThinkBox research as well, and then you're trying to convince these teams internally to invest, yet you're getting a lot of conflicting stuff. Like, how do you navigate that?
So I think there is a difference between the narrative and the decision that the media buyers is making at the end of the day. I think the decision is very much data-driven, but the narrative is influenced by things that are not data-driven. So as long as the decision on what to buy is based on data, I'm happy with that.
So some of the decisions, the buying decisions, is just not rational. It's based on fashion.
Some of the conversations are not rational.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I think that's a challenge.
But it's not just PepsiCo. I mean, I think we love to talk about the shiny new thing, and if it's called creators, why not?
Okay. Actually, shiny new thing. I never thought I'd say that about you, Richard.
That's just such a segue.
It is. He teed me up perfectly for that. You know, you've just moved to the UK, right? You've just moved back. You were in Holland for how long?
12 years.
12 years. Have you moved back, obviously, because you missed UK TV, I assume?
Of course.
Yeah, well, you're not back here for the weather, are you?
Well, to be fair, if anyone in the audience has lived in Holland, you'll know this is actually a summer's day in Holland.
Okay. So you've changed, right? We talk about this narrative. Like the Unilever have been pretty public that they've gone from a broadcast first business to social first. So you're really on point and really fashionable. Why are you doing that? Is that working for you? And you know, why is that the narrative for Unilever?
So we've always been a consumer-first business, Justin. Not a broadcast-first business or a social-first business. It's all about the consumer. Everything is about delivering delight and happiness to our consumers. And so the media choices we make are holistic in the ability to reach the maximum amount of consumers with the right message at the right time. So I think this narrative of, broadcast first, social first, it is literally about how you communicate with the consumers. And there is no doubt that there is a place for all media channels on a media schedule, because, you talked about flux a minute ago, and talked about the flux. It's not just this industry that's going through. All industries are going through flux.
Is your industry going through flux?
What, CPG?
Yeah.
Of course, every industry is going through flux. There is no industry immune to the pace of change. It is just the environment.
And how does that affect your job? Are you suggesting that it's
a lot more exciting and a lot more interesting?
Is it?
Absolutely.
Expand on
Now
that.
you're going to ask why.
Yeah.
And I've got corporate comms in my ear going, don't tell him.
Yeah, I saw their email, don't worry. So let's talk about how that reflects on budgets. Does this, with this like, social first, broadcast first, whatever, does that mean you're spending less in telly?
I mean, I'm not going to sit on a public forum and tell you we're spending more or less on anything.
Okay.
But clearly, I will say that television remains a critical part of the marketing mix or the media mix for us and for a great many, and for all other advertisers. Now, the reality is, at this moment in time, if we're starting to talk about TV, the definitions are becoming, that's quite a narrow definition. And I've sat on this stage talking to you, now that's when you were slightly better dressed, about the fact that TV is really an old definition of the medium. We should be talking about audio-visual, right? But
that brings in a lot of other supply that's a little fishy, right? And that's the problem with TV. It's regulated, it's transparent, it's trusted.
Yes,
so
it is.
So that's hence.
But then you can't rule out the fact that a lot of the other channels are providing extremely good quality content to the consumer. I mean, look at the viewing figures in the UK at the moment, right? Linear TV still takes a large proportion of the viewing figures, but if you then look at on demand, whether that be BVOD, SVOD, AVOD, then there's that's taking about 45 minutes. It's about 45 minutes a day of viewing, and that is television, right?
Yeah, of course.
The Netflixes and the Apples of this world are providing extremely high quality TV. As you know, because every time I speak to you, I make a recommendation, and the following time you speak to me, you tell me how good it is.
That doesn't happen, by the way. I don't know where he got that from. So Ali, how does TV, Richard wants to talk about it, and I hear a lot of brands want to talk about it as in part of AV budgets. And that really does put TV in a world of where there's unlimited impressions, right? Yet TV is, it's long form, it's trusted and all that sort of stuff. It's independently measured. How does television compete in that world?
I think TV's always been able to compete in that world, and I would argue it's not the only place where long-form content exists.
But we've never been in a world with unlimited impressions, with just a shitload out there.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So how do you compete with quality and price in that environment?
I think you have to stand up for the quality that TV has, but I think you also have to accept the fact that TV, as you say, doesn't have to have the narrow definition that we've always given it. If you look at what creators are creating in long-form content in YouTube, you look at how many people are now watching things like YouTube on a 65-inch TV, which is what I watch most of the time at home, is stuff on YouTube, just on a massive scale. You think about creators, you think about how groups like Whaler are taking into account how you bring that in, how broadcasters can redefine the way that they look at content. If you look at how many people have gone on to have very successful TV shows from being on something like Big Brother or something like Bake Off. Those are creators. If you think about that in a slightly different way and you just tweak the narrative, the long-form content isn't this just, it's EastEnders or it's, Coronation Street and the classic soap operas, which were invented by brands in the first place, let's not forget, in order to flog soap. So, when you start really thinking about it from that perspective, how do broadcasters not look at it as like them versus us, but really how do you start pulling yourself into going, how do I as a broadcaster take advantage of that? How do they monetize their content on YouTube and give the creators a run for their money in that perspective?
So you would like to see these sort of the premium television brands invest more in the short form video and expand their distribution across social assets, is what you're saying?
Doesn't have to be short form video. YouTube is not short form video. It could be an entire hour-long show. It's just about looking at how you reach into that world and take advantage of it from a broadcaster's perspective.
It's very hard for broadcasters to take advantage of those situations. There's not many companies win by putting their content in other environments. You need it within your own, and that's the big challenge for the TV company. You mentioned YouTube, so I'll ask a question along it, just a quick yes, no. Is YouTube TV? Be careful. Partially?
It depends.
Fucking hell. Who invited him?
You did.
Yeah, I did actually, yeah. Ali?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You look at 30% of the streaming or the YouTube views now in the US are on TVs. They are not on a phone.
That's in the US. The US is a completely different market.
It's 10% here, and it's growing very, very quickly.
Okay, even though it's not regulated, it's very hard to account for what happens with your ad dollars. You're okay, that's TV.
I'm not okay with it. I want brand safety. I want to be able to use technologies that keep me safe on places like YouTube. Brands need to be safe. It's just TV is not the only place where safety can be found.
Okay. Sounds like you're saying...
Justin, sorry, but you're conflating a distribution metric or a distribution platform with the content that's on it here.
Yeah.
Right? So actually, you could flip this on its head. You mentioned a 65-inch telly. I don't have a house big enough to take big. Yeah, big telly, right?
Big telly.
Yeah.
Technology has helped TV just immeasurably. In the equipment you can get, you can get a cinema experience in your front room, right? That just makes the viewing experience for the consumer immeasurably richer than it ever was before. Yeah, Apple, all of these streamers, programs like Slow Horses, brilliant. By the way, I suspect most people in this room have seen it.
I've got that on my to-do list.
Yeah, I know, I gave it to you.
You did,
yeah. Programs like Slow Horses, right, that's drawing people back into, if they have ever left, a televisional experience. So technology and the fragmentation, but the arrival of these companies is helping TV, right? So it's invidious to get trapped in the narrative about what is people have been arguing about what CTV is for the best part of 5 or 6 years. I sat on this stage at another conference, not one run by you, talking about that.
It wasn't very good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
The moderator was fantastic. Talking about about TV and about the definition of CTV. Yeah. So I think this narrative is deflecting us from the real thing, which is we have to provide content, whether that be the programming, whether that be the advertising, whatever it is, that pleases consumers and draws them in.
Mm. What's your role then, all of advertisers' role on quality? Like the quality environment. If you ever look at all these digital outlets, right, they are funded by advertisers. What is your role in to ensure that these environments are quality driven, are not riddled with scams and all that sort of stuff? Like, where is your voices on this particular topic? Ali, do you want to take that?
Well, the beast
I'm
two
looking at
can't,
you.
so yes, I guess it's on me.
Soren will. He's going to get it next.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do think we do have a role to play in that. Does it mean that I need to sit here and bash platforms? No, absolutely not, because quality is not intrinsic in TV or radio. You can't tar a whole channel with quality or not quality. It's the way it's delivered, it's the way that you buy it, it's the protections that you put in place are more important than the channel that you choose.
Okay. Well, she mentioned the platforms. You can have the platform question. At the moment, there's a massive consolidation of spend that is within 3 companies. Soren, is that a healthy ad environment?
As long as those companies are 3 and not 1 or 2, I think...
So 3's okay, but you don't like 1?
I don't like 1, no. 1 is monopoly.
Yeah. It's
But,
still getting
but
pretty
I think
dicey
that-
with 3, isn't it? Because they're taking, what, 55%?
So I don't know where you got your stats, but it's very rare to consolidate as a group as large as the companies that we are representing. It's very rare to consolidate in 3. We always have a wider spread than the perception that the public opinion has on what we choose.
But you can see what's happening globally, right? There is a consolidation of spend amongst the platforms. The global platforms are becoming more and more dominant. Like
Yes, but don't
Meta
forget
grew
that
21% in
Meta
Europe.
is making the large chunk of their revenue not from advertisers that are on this stage, but from the small businesses. And those add up
Yeah.
to feel that the market is really fragmented into those 3.
I feel like it's very unusual for large brands to sit there and go, I only spend on these 3 platforms, or those 3 platforms.
Yeah.
That's just not true.
It is skewed by SME, but they are still growing amongst the large agency groups as well, which suggests that large advertisers are still piling in a lot of cash into those companies.
And or it means that agencies are going after smaller clients,
Yep.
which is also true. You're getting a lot more agencies taking on medium-sized clients, not just big brands.
Is it healthy though? Yes or no though? If we have a small concentration of companies that dominate so much spend, or don't care, move on.
I think if you get the reach that you want, if your consumers see the brand message that you want to transmit in a qualitative, effective way, why not?
Okay, Richard, the UK broadcasters here with Thinkbox, Lindsay, and I'm sure Thinkbox are in the room, wrote a great piece about Meta. They're coming out attacking Meta, right? I'm not going to ask you anything too difficult or dicey on this, but do you like that? Do you like that approach, right? Someone shout out the line, is it turn down the toxic? That's it, turn down the toxic. Is that a good approach for the TV
I'm not going
community?
to comment on what Thinkbox feels appropriate to do.
Why not?
Big.
It's aimed at you guys.
Yeah, hold on a second.
All right.
Thank you. But the reality is that we found, I mean, I'm looking at John Eales down in the front row thinking he's going to know all about knocking copy, but I think it's still illegal to produce knocking copy direct from an advertiser to an advertiser. I'm not saying that's what Thinkbox are doing. Let's be very clear. We would prefer to focus on our strengths and worry less about the competitive strengths. TV's got a great story to tell.
Yeah.
If it chooses to go down that route, that's entirely up to them. Is that bland enough?
Well dodged. Ali, is it a good strategy or a bad strategy? You're a consultant now. You've left that world of advertisers. You could literally consult to the commercial teams here in the UK on how they address this. Would you recommend they do that if you were the consultant?
I don't think publicly bashing any platform is a particularly good way of going about it. I think playing to your own...
Jolly good fun, though, isn't it?
It can be.
Yeah, okay.
But at the same time, I think I would love to see with TV. I love TV. It's one of my favourite media. Always has been. TV, paid search, it works.
Yeah.
It just works. And I think there's so much more to focus on how we get broadcasters and TV talking about what its real strengths are in building memory structures, in effectiveness. Shout out to ITV if you're in the room. One of the highest performing pieces of things I've seen in the last few years, for the last 5 years running, has been ITV weather sponsorship by Heinz. 3 times a day, rotating copy. Today it'll be soup because the weather is disgusting. You know, it can go across multiple categories, and it's got such strength. It speaks to culture, and I think that's the type of thing, as you say, TV just can deliver on those types of things that consumers love in a way that scrolling through Facebook on your phone is never going to be able to do.
Okay, good line. That will win you some friends in this room. Richard, did you want to chime in on this, or Soren? Go.
Yeah, I was thinking on the train this morning from Brussels that it feels like TV tries to mimic the digital platforms in everything that they do, in convincing us to spend more, while in fact
Well, it's worked quite well for the digital platforms.
Yeah,
so
but why
wouldn't
not building your own narrative? So, for example, one of the largest gaps in our thinking is moving beyond this kind of adults 18-45 kind of framework that none of us on this stage probably are, but we are spending. We have the money power, we are buying brands, yet our media plans forget us somehow. TV is still the number one media that can reach those older audiences. Mm-hmm. So why not the TV stations would build on that instead of focusing on millennials and so on, which is what the platform has built into our narrative. So,
well, but that 16 to 34 demographic is incredibly profitable, right?
Why do you say that?
Because you guys like to market to that community.
But we should market to older audience.
Oh, absolutely, they're the ones with all the money. We've been saying that for years, though, and that hasn't resonated.
Yeah, you should do it much more. I think Meta does it better.
Right, whoever services this guy, charge more for that older demographic and give him no freebies, all right? Give him absolutely no freebies.
We're going to measure that.
Okay. So we talk about the strengths and stuff. We just heard from the interim CEO, if you like, of Channel 4, and he was talking about the strengths, right, of societal strengths, the news, and all the things that public service broadcasters are responsible for. Is that a strength? Is that something that TV should talk about? Do you feel as though that you guys are responsible for supporting that, Richard?
TV.
Or is that not your? It can be not your responsibility. That's a totally fair answer.
Yeah, let's be very clear. Our responsibility is to, I'm going to say, delight and please consumers, of course, but the responsibility of any large advertiser is to make money and sell soap, in our case, but that boils it down to a very linear, one-dimensional perspective. But the reality is that, I've heard TV referred to as societal glue, right? And it is the term water cooler television, right? There literally great content out there to view. I mean, we play a role in that. We should be producing great advertising to go alongside that content.
Yeah.
Right. And some of the advertising today is amazing and does exactly that. Is it our role to support societal objectives and news and everything else as an advertiser? I think it's a role of anybody who's involved in a society's role is to basically look at these things and think about what society needs, etc., etc., etc. But it's not our role to give them money just because.
No, it's not. But as Unilever, to have that environment and market in that environment, it makes a lot more sense for your brands. So supporting it does kind of make sense for your shareholders and for your.
All advertisers spend money on television and therefore support television. Not all advertisers, clearly, but any money advertisers spend and commit to TV supports TV.
Okay, so we're going to see a presentation later today, and we talk about that trust and transparency. And the reality is, there's actually, we saw it a little bit yesterday as well, there's less spend going through JICs, the likes of Barb's and all the rest of it. Globally, less spend is going through these trusted institutions because there's more money going into non-trusted institutions, if you like, or non-independently measured ones, I should say. Is that a cause for concern? Should we be supporting the JICs and the various measurement solutions out there that are non-black boxed and independently monitored? Sorin, do you want to take that?
So I don't know how to answer that.
Okay. Don't care?
No.
You do care?
No, I do care a lot.
Okay. But well, I know how to answer it. You have to spend more with them.
But at the same time, it's also about not just going to what's always existed. So if you look at Origin and what the Halo projects and things like that, expanding more types of measurement and getting better at measurement versus going, I'll just put more money through old measurement, I think is a far more grown-up way of approaching the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about the new ways that we can measure effectiveness in more trusted ways. It's not saying we don't want trusted measurement because we don't put it through the JICs. Yeah. It's just we have a different and expanding version of the truth.
We don't, actually from the inside, we rarely have this kind of fundamental debates, digital versus TV.
You do still?
No.
Oh, you don't?
We don't have them at all. Huh?
Do we
just
worry
care about
these
the
things?
consumer?
Do we worry about these things as a TV industry? But the
internally, we don't really debate, except maybe in a smaller media team. I mean, no one outside of media teams has this debate.
Yeah, and so from that narrative thing that we've talked about a lot, Richard, I don't know whether you agree with this. It was a great thing I heard yesterday from Thinkbox is brands who have gone into social environments and they've gone and done it too aggressively and they've had to come back to TV, but they won't tell the industry, which is a shame because it's a good story. Is there a narrative? Do you think there's a narrative problem with telly that it's not very cool? That social's kind of like the trend thing?
Again, I come back to the point, TV remains foremost leisure pursuit across.
It is, but is it cool from a media marketing perspective? Does it matter?
I think it's getting cooler.
Yeah, it's getting cooler.
I think it's
getting cooler. Great.
I mean, cool's something my 14-year-old would argue about. So,
your 14-year-old's got no money. I'm not interested in your 14-year-old.
No, she's got my money.
Oh, she's got plenty of money then. Sorry. Yeah.
But the reality is that you have to look at it, and we do, as an industry, are losing sight of the fact that there is a consumer out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does the consumer think TV is cool?
Yeah.
Does the consumer watch things? Do we hear people talking about the slow horses of this world, or the adolescents of this world, or the Strickleys of this world? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So, I think it's kind of, we're getting very generic about what we're saying. That's kind of dangerous in this world because of the amount of change that's coming at us.
Yeah.
All of us. So, do I think TV's cool? I think it's extremely powerful.
Yeah.
It does a great job. It reaches consumers, and it's still societal glue to a degree.
Ali, it's getting cooler. Why is it getting cooler?
I love the way that it's expanding in terms of its ways of thinking. So if you look at how some of the devices are going sort of glass first, it's like the ads are coming out of the DSPs and coming directly from your device, the way it can speak across that, the way it is societal glue. I used to love the way that you can measure how great your TV advertising was, because I used to go and measure how much it was talked about on social media and be like, I want to advertise around the TV shows that are the most talked about on social media. Does that mean I'll advertise on social media at the same time? Yes. But I want it on TV, I want it here, not because people are dual screening, just because that's the way the conversation is and the way that the great content that is on TV and on various different platforms online is bringing people together and giving that discussion.
Okay. Sorin, you're running a TV company. How would you appeal to yourself? How would you sell TV to yourself?
Wear orange.
Wear orange, yeah.
First of all, logo should be orange, of course. No, I would sell through the lens of effectiveness. I think we should not hide the fact that TV is effective, and that it reaches demographics that we should care about more than we probably care about.
Yeah, that's true.
And that it has built brands for decades and could continue to build brands going forward.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, join me in thanking the panelists for a marvellous chat.
Thank you for listening to the Media Leader podcast. Our executive producer is me, Jack Benjamin. Special thanks to our production partner, Trisonic. You can find all our episodes wherever you get your podcasts or on our website at themedialeader.co.uk. But do please remember to subscribe to be notified when we release our next episode. You can also subscribe to our newsletter at The Media Leader to receive daily coverage of all the biggest stories in media and advertising. From all of us at The Media Leader, I'm Jack Benjamin. See you next time.